Welcome to Carol and Gary's See America Tour. Hello again, everyone. With 45 days left in Mims, we decided to squeeze in another repair project before getting back on the road. The backsplash behind the sink and stove in our motorhome has been deteriorating from cleaning the countertop. This section behind our sink is 2 inches high and approximately 35 inches wide. This section behind the stove is 18 inches high and 30 inches wide. There were a couple of areas behind the sink where the wallpaper bunched up during the original installation of the backsplash, so we needed to see if it was possible to have a taller backsplash to cover this damaged wallpaper. Before starting, we made a trip to Lowe's in Titusville to see what tile was available. Carol selected this light brown 2-inch by 4-inch ceramic tile, but these new tiles didn't cover the bunched up wallpaper that I mentioned earlier, so we bought this 1/2-inch wide by 12-inch long border trim with a nice rope pattern on it. In addition, we bought some 2x2 appliques that matched the rope design and added a little bling to the project. There was a bead of silicone along the bottom of the old tiles, so I used a putty knife to break this loose. Then I used a putty knife along the top. After I had cut through a long section of silicone on the top and bottom of the old backsplash behind the sink, I was able to apply pressure and break it loose. When I started working on the large section of the backsplash behind the stove, it quickly became obvious that this was one piece, so I turned to my faithful pry bar. The large back piece finally breaks free, then it's just a matter of getting it out. The glue used to hold the original backsplash up pulled some of the wallpaper loose, so I used a razor blade to trim these loose pieces. I had never laid tile before, but knew that it was supposed to be a little different in a motorhome because of the movement when you drive, so I watched several YouTube videos to get the general idea. I talked to a worker at Lowe's who recommended that I use Fuze-It by Liquid Nails instead of the standard thin set used in houses. Fuze-It, he said, could withstand slight movements of the walls while driving. I forgot to press record while laying the tiles, but here is a picture that I drew up while planning the project. The plan called for 72 full-length tiles and 13 partial-length tiles. The gold color squares represent partial-length tiles that I will have to cut or pay to have cut. Since these are all simple cuts, I bought a cheap tile cutter at Lowe's and decided to try cutting them myself. Notice that this early plan does not include the applique pieces that I mentioned earlier, but you will be able to see them in the final pictures. Here I am running a bead of silicone caulk that will be under the trim piece that sits on the countertop. With the first piece of trim in place, I moved down the countertop with more silicone. The good thing about silicone is that once it dries completely, it cleans up easily with a razor blade. As I said, I forgot to press the record button while laying out the tile, but here is a view of what it looks like afterwards. Notice the applique pieces. These appliques replace the 6th row of tile. I'm going to admit I screwed up. Had I laid all of the tiles in the 5th row, I would have noticed that by adding a little more spacing between the applique tiles that I could have ended up with a complete tile. Instead, I had to cut a small piece off the last applique tile with my Dremel to make it fit. After waiting overnight, I used the grout float that I bought at Lowe's to work grout into the gaps between the trim, tiles, and applique pieces. Then I used a wet sponge in a circular motion to remove the excess grout. Here is the almost completed tile project. I have a couple more errors that need to clean up, and then I can check this off my honey-do list. I will let you know in another video how the adhesive used on the back of the tiles holds up. If you like this video but have not yet subscribed, please do so to be notified of future videos, and as always, feel free to share with your friends. Thanks for watching!